So today we're going to talk about identifying congruent triangles using side, side, side. And side, angle, side. Side, 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 and side, angle, side. The S's stand for sides, A stands for angle. We'll explain what that means, the significance in the order of the letters. Anybody not ready to move on? Okay. Here we have a picture of a couple triangles. We'll move back up to that in a second. Triangles congruent by SSS are side, side, side postulate. It says if three sides of one triangle are congruent to three sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Three sides of one triangle are congruent to three sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Must be congruent. There's no way we could do that and not get congruent triangles. Pause while you finish that. So here's the deal. If I gave this group right here 3 sticks, one of them was a foot long, one of them was a 1.5 feet long, and the third one was 2 feet long, and I said, go ahead and make a triangle. And tape the ends together. And I come over here and I said same thing to this group. And they had also a foot long, 1.5 feet long, and 2 foot long. And I gave the same to every group in here. And I said make triangles. Okay? And you held your triangles up. When I first look at them, would they all look exactly the same?
No.
No. But if you all had the same length sides, SSS says that I could take all of your triangles and I might have to flip them over, rotate them around, and slide them here and there. But without changing the shape of your triangle, I could get every one of those triangles stacked on top of each other so they would look exactly the same. Okay? That's what this postulate is saying, that no matter how you configure your 3 sides, if your 3 sides are the same length as someone else's 3 sides, your triangles will be congruent. They'll have the same angles, and they'll have the same length sides. Okay? That's what this says. So, if you're given information about 2 triangles and you want to know are they congruent, well, if you're given information that says all 3 sides of one are equal to all 3 sides of the other, like in this picture, we're saying that this side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. Those 2 triangles have to be congruent. Okay? They have to be congruent. And if I took this triangle and I rotated it around, and I flipped it over, oh, maybe I shouldn't have flipped it over. Well, it looked like I should have. Let me try that again. Oh, yeah. See what I'm saying? They're exactly the same, aren't they? So if they have 3 sides that are the same, then they must be congruent triangles. You remember what we learned the last 2 days. If the 2 figures are congruent, then what else is true? What's even more powerful than just knowing they're congruent? Last 2 days we spent doing what? Don't be afraid to look back. we spent time talking about congruent figures. What did we learn about them? What's that? Corresponding parts. And what's special about corresponding parts? Yeah, they're all equal. They're all congruent. Okay? Good job, John. That's exactly what we've been talking about. Okay? If the figures are congruent, then all their corresponding parts are congruent. So once I know these two triangles are exactly the same, then that means then that these angles have to be the same. And as I flip it around and lay it on top of each other, the one disappeared, didn't it? Looks like there's only one triangle there now, doesn't it? Okay, and that's the way it works out when you have congruent shapes. All right, let me just move that back off. Something like that. All right, let's move on to the next page. Are these two triangles congruent?
Yes.
Okay. Alexis, why do you agree if these two triangles are congruent? Because all three sides of the triangle on the left have a corresponding congruent side on the right triangle, right? So over here we have one that's 4.5 units long. Over here we have one 4.5 units long. We have one 7.5 units long. We have one 7.6 units long. So those two triangles are congruent by what reasoning? Yeah. What was the name of what we just did? Side, side, side. You don't have to tell me if it's a postulate. Does anybody remember the difference between a postulate and a theorem? A real head scratcher. What's the difference between a postulate and a theorem? Do you remember, Autumn? No. No? I thought you were saying, yes, call on me, call on me. Go ahead, Paul, give me a thought.
Isn't a postulate like that? I guess the answer, but theorem can always be proven wrong.
You're really close. For being wrong, you're really close. You threw the word proven with the right term, okay? But it's not could be proven wrong. It can be proven true, okay? Postulates are statements that we accept to be true, and we may or may not prove them, okay? Theorems are statements that are proven to be true. So the definition of a theorem is a statement that's proven to be true. The definition of a postulate is statements that are accepted to be true. Okay? Some authors of textbooks approach these things differently, and sometimes this postulate here is actually a theorem because of the way they approached it, and sometimes it's a postulate. And so because these really bright people that write these textbooks can't even agree on whether they're postulates or theorems, I don't care whether you recognize them as postulates or theorems. I want you to make sure you understand this is side, side, side. And I want to make sure you understand that side, side, side means that what? What? What is? All the sides of one triangle are equal to, thank you, all the sides of the second triangle. Okay? That's what I want to make sure you understand. And if you got that, I don't care if you remember it as a postulate, a theorem, a property, a definition. I don't care what you call it. Okay? Kind of like the little boy that says, you can call me whatever you want as long as you don't call me late for dinner. All right? Don't want to be late for dinner. How many of you think dinner is your favorite meal of the day? Really? Nobody?
It depends on what we have.
I'm gonna go with winter.
Okay.
I'll go with Thanksgiving dinner.
What do you think SSS stands for?
Side angle.
Side angle side. I already said that, didn't I? And look what's written right there. Side angle side says if sides of and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to two sides and the included angle of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So, what term in this definition looks strange to you? What's that? Included. Okay? Included. In fact, you probably see there in your notes, we're going to talk about what included means. Because if you don't understand the definition of included, then what's written here doesn't make any sense. Okay? So, two sides and the included angle. Included means the angle that's pinched between the two sides. Pinched is not an official textbook language. It's the way I think about it. So I write it that way, thinking it might help you to think about it correctly. It's sandwiched in between the two sides. Okay? So included means the two sides sandwich the angle in between them. So that angle is the included angle. Okay? So if we look at this picture, this angle right here is sandwiched between this side and this side. Do you agree with that? This side is labeled with one mark, this side is labeled with two. If I come over here, that same one mark angle is again sandwiched between this side with one mark and this side here that has two marks on it. So by what? What was the name of this?
SAS.
SAS, by side angle side. See, watch this, and I go in order. Side, angle, side is congruent to this side, angle, side. So that means these two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Now, remember when we write this congruent statement, remember this is called a congruent statement. I don't think we have this in our notes anywhere. I mention it many times. Congruence, sorry. Congruence statement. You'll be asked to write a congruent statement. This is what they mean.
Is that the box of photo?
Yep. This is what they mean by a congruent statement. It means that you, first of all, identify we're talking about triangles with a triangle symbol. And then you put the letters in the appropriate corresponding order. Okay? The first one you write doesn't matter the order in which you write it. Sorry, Paul. You write the first one in any order, but you have to match up the others in corresponding order. Okay? So if we look at this, we started with this one with A, then we went B, C. Now let's look at the identifying marks. It's at the end of the line marked with a single mark, right? And it goes to the angle that's marked. So A starts at the end of the single marked line segment and it goes to B, the angle that's marked. So if I come over here, here's our single line. Here's one end and here's the other end, but the one that matches up with A is not the angle that's marked, but the other end. So we go D to the angle and across the two-sided, or the two-marked side. Okay? And so DEF, triangle DEF. They are not always alphabetical. So you can't just say, well, that's obvious, A, B, C, D, E, F, alphabetical. Okay? They don't always work that way. Sometimes they're twisted around. Sometimes you're really going to have to look at the way the pictures are marked up to know the right way in which to label them. Okay? It's important in this unit that we begin identifying and labeling things in the proper order. Okay? We said before that segment AB is the same segment as segment BA. Right? Remember us saying that a long time ago? Segment AB, segment BA, doesn't matter which way you write them. And it's true, it doesn't. They're the same segment. But now we're identifying and we're writing congruent statements, and if we don't match them up in the proper corresponding order, then your statement's wrong. Okay? Remember the last 2 days we looked at the statement to help us know what angles were congruent to other angles and what sides are congruent to other sides? Okay? Well, if we don't put them in the right order, then that's not true. So let's go down to this last one here. What do you think about these two? Is this side angle side? A lot of heads bobbing yes. I heard some yeses. I see a thumbs down.
No, it's not.
No. I put my foot down.
No,
Why not, Paul?
because the angle's not the same. It's the opposite of what the one that has the SAS on it. The angle's different from one that just has the A on it because the angle's on the opposite end.
Oh. Okay, I should have erased those SAS. I'll make sure I do that before we talk to the next group, although it's already in your notes, isn't it? But what he's really trying to say is this angle is where in relationship to my two sides? What's the proper term? Included, right, Lauren? Included. It's sandwiched, pinched between, let me change colors here, this side and this side. It's sandwiched between them. When I go over here, I have congruent sides, don't I? And I have congruent angles. And so it'd be real easy to say, hey, this side angle side. But it's not. And it's not because this angle is not sandwiched between my two sides. It would have to be there for this to be side angle side. Okay? So we can't prove these two triangles are congruent by side angle side. Now, does that mean they're not congruent? No. It just means we don't have enough information to prove they are congruent. Right? Remember, if you get your homework done, then you can go to the movie, and then I saw you at the movie. Can I conclude your homework's done? No, I can't. Does that mean your homework's not done? No, it doesn't. It just means I don't have enough information, and that's what we're saying here. We're not saying these triangles aren't congruent. We're saying we don't have enough to prove they are congruent because it doesn't match up with one of our two postulates so far that we've learned. It's certainly not side, side, side because I don't know anything about this side and this side. And I don't know that it's congruent by side angle side because even though here I have a side, the angle, and the side, over here I have the side, don't know, have a side, and then I know the angle. Okay? So yes, they could be congruent, but I don't know that. Not enough information. So that's what we write here. Not side angle side. Okay? Not saying they're not congruent. I'm just saying that's not side angle side, so I don't have enough to know. Okay?
Dude.
Hey, is that it?
Yep.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Really? Would that homework?
We need more work than that, don't we?
No.
No, Mr.
Sure.
What?
Say yes.
So, today in lesson 4-2,
1 to 2.
1 through close, 27 off for all your
What was that even?
suggested help. You tell me how much you need.